Check, 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 check. There we go. There we go. All right, everybody. We trying to start on time, everybody, so please find your seats. We're going to start on time for the first time ever. That means we got 4 minutes. Let's see if we can do it. 4 minutes. All right. Don't let Brandon in here. Don't let him in here. All right. Testing, testing. All right. Okay, I see you. All right. Raymond, don't let Brandon sit down, Raymond. Don't let him sit down. Don't do it. Okay, she's going to welcome everybody. She's basically the Northeastern. Okay. Okay. So can you get up and do yours and then pass it to her? Or should we do it the other way around? Actually, let's do you first, and then we'll give it to you. She's going to welcome. Yes. All right. Okay. Okay. Okay, she's going to welcome everybody to Northeastern and then pass it to you. All right. 5 minutes, yep.
Randy, just do this if I'm running out of time.
All right. And make sure you guys are like, scooting over for people. All right. Say hello to everybody that's virtual, that's watching. Say what's up. Erica. Yep. Say hello to Hawaii. Say hello to Erica, Mawuko, Layla. All right, so before we get started, actually, no, how much time we got? 5 minutes? Okay, we got. Should we start early? We've never done that before. All right, okay, so listen up, everybody. I just want you guys to slowly find your seats, but before we get started, we're going to bring up a representative of this wonderful campus to welcome everybody, okay? So a round of applause.
All right. So I'm going to try my best to keep us on time. It was starting early. Well, first of all, hello, everyone. Welcome to Northeastern University. Raise your hand if it's your first time on the campus. Okay, so a good amount for the first time on the campus. Well, we're really excited to partner again with Gameheads for the second year in a row to host their 11th annual showcase, and more importantly, to have all these beautiful faces on our campus. My name is Karima Omar. I'm the Associate Director of Partnerships, and over the past year and a half, I've had the pleasure of working closely with the Gameheads team on initiatives like this, as well as hosting our students on their Jack London campus. And I think this summer also teaching summer classes to our high school students, and really more importantly, celebrating everyone together today. One of the most inspiring outcomes of this partnerships has been watching Northeastern students, our very own students, apply to the program. And last year on the 10th year anniversary showcase, they presented the games at that event. So those students are now rising juniors on our Boston campus, and that's proof for how Northeastern, values partnerships that connect to the real world learning experiences. So experiential learning is at the heart of what we do, and we collaborate with Gameheads. That collaboration is a perfect example. And for families here today, I want you to imagine your students and their future on our student campus, and for the high school students interested in the game design, and we have a College of Arts, Media, and Design on our campus here to turn that pathway from creativity into innovation. And if you're a partner in the audience, make sure you catch me after for us to just collaborate. Thank you again for celebrating Gameheads, and we're excited to celebrate today, and welcome again to our campus.
What up, Gameheads? All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the 11th annual Gamehead Showcase tonight. Thank you everyone for showing out today and playing everyone's games. I want to take a second and shout out our Gameheads Hawaii Ohana watching from home. right? Along with everyone that's watching from across the country. If you're tuning into the stream, make sure to blow up the chat, drop all the emojis, let people know that you're watching, send a link to all your family, friends, and all of that. Let us know how hyped you are to see the games that we have in store for you today. So, last year, we celebrated our 10th anniversary, where we hit over 100 video games that were made over the last 10 years. And tonight, we just introduced to all of you 22 new projects to all of you for our 11th anniversary. So, you guys clap. There you go. Yeah. It's also the first year of our first ever Jose Awards. Let's go! Jose, 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 Jose. Let's go! So we'll be announcing several awards tonight in categories like Best Coding, Best Design, Best Art, Sound, Narrative, Mechanic, Most Improved Game, and this is the unannounced one, a special audience award, Audience Choice Award, where you all will have the chance to vote. And finally, the GOTS, the Game of the Summer. So make sure to stick around to see who will walk away with the awards tonight at the first annual Jose's. And don't miss your chance to vote tonight for the first ever Audience Choice Award. If you're a team that wins a Jose Award tonight, please stand when the winner is announced so that we can give you all a quick round of applause, and after that, we'll keep the presentations going and the show on the road. So, is everyone ready to see some video games tonight? All right, let's go.
Mirror Machka is a first-person boomer shooter where you take the role of a magical girl delving into their own subconscious to kind of attack and restore the monsters plaguing their own mind palace.
You play by doing this little heart beam. You do heart blast to stun enemies, and then once they're stunned, you can go up and hug them.
So we have 2 enemies as of right now. One of them is this like little munchkin guy with like messed up teeth, and then the other is this evil mirror that shoots hate. They're both supposed to represent the player's insecurities.
So for the art style, we went with a more anime, cartoony-esque style with like bright colors, and yeah.
Each one of our rooms has an underlying sub-theme. It's not just their appearance, it's, we have some rooms that are talking about like insecurity over performance. There's one talking about like music and an inability to meet certain standards. The entire experience is meant to represent a journey of self-healing.
Throughout the game, we have power-ups littered throughout that are supposed to be the player like reclaiming their identity. And then as well as just like the player will go through fighting the enemies over and over, gaining experience dealing with their inner demons.
One of the most satisfying parts so far for me was our first melee enemy, which is the little munchkin guy. He's kind of like a little silly little goober, and like I really like especially animating him because he kind of just waddles around like this, and his fight animation is like really cartoony and like squishy, and I like it.
Because everyone like feels insecure, but not everyone has the tools to deal with it. Not everyone is ready to embrace themselves and to get that kind of self-love that I think they need. So that's really what I think is important for Mirror Machka.
Thank you for listening.
So Project Jam is a rhythm action game that revolves around the player fighting these robots who are an oppressive force that are taking over the world through music.
So, pretty customary for like a rhythm game. You have notes that you need to click on time, on rhythm with the beat. You, during a certain part of the song, are attacking, and then during another part of the song, you're defending yourself against the robots at times. By the end of the song, if you win, you unlock a new character. You kill the robot, and outside of the robot comes a new musician, and that musician is who you play with in level 2.
Each note represents like rebelling or fighting against this kind of conformity, and it really speaks to like wanting to set people free creatively and like get them to express kind of who they are.
So the subcultures that are within our game, there is the punk, the jazz fusion, and hip-hop. And so with the styles, it changes based on the type of energy that the subcultures have. So for the punk, the character, a lot of the styles choices were to be more edgy, to be more angular, while say for the jazz fusion, it's a lot of flowy, moving, curvy lines.
Second thing that was kind of a challenge is, how do I chart all these notes to happen? So what I recently did is made it to where our game can work with a digital audio workstation, and it has a MIDI system where you can chart notes. So doing that was a big learning curve, and I feel like as a programmer, it's like, woo, challenge! So, yeah.
I'd say the most difficult thing about the art comes from specifically drawing each character's pose for the directions. With it being a rhythm game, it can be difficult landing on a sketch that seems both dynamic and clearly communicates the direction that the player clicks.
We want players to feel the power of music in its fight against nonconformity and realize that true artistry is born from what most call dissonance.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy playing Project Jam.
Spry, Spry is a 2D platform-based stealth game based in the Bay Area. It follows our character right here. His tag or his throw-up is Spry. We just follow him, just throwing throw-ups around the Bay Area, trying to get his name out there.
So the core loop is mainly spray and hide. It's a stealth game that revolves about the player, being able to be caught while you're spraying the wolves, because we're trying to walk the player in the life of a graffiti artist by showing them the danger of being caught in public or in the open.
We wanted to capture the style of graffiti using line weights, gritty textures, and occasional splashes of neon colors. And with fun, fictional, cartoonish exaggerations with our main characters.
So half my team is from the Bay, but the other half is from Hawaii, right? But something we both had in common was graffiti. There's a lot of graffiti over there in Hawaii, and there's a lot more here in the Bay Area. Because 2 and 2 together, boom, graffiti. We had something similar.
Tech tips, so the patrols are placed in the game in a very certain spots in a very designated places. So we're very aware about the places where the player have to be extra cautious. We place them next to graffiti walls just to make sure the player don't spend too much time, just making sure he's doing full the power, just on the dopamine. You focus on the dopamine being high, so high-paced game.
For our color palette, it mainly consists of cool, dark tones to show that nighttime vibe, but with splashes of neon colors, because we wanted the player to feel like they found their fun, they found their joy in this dark world.
I guess something I want the player to take away from this game is just this quote-unquote over-dramatic experience of graffiti. Graffiti is it depends on what you do. You can do it on a sketchbook, you can do it on a brick wall, you can do it on that TV right there. I'm just trying to get the player an insight, how it feels in a more arcadey, dramatic style. So if they're interested, you can just play this game for a little while and be like, oh, I really like this game, or I really like how they're doing it. You can try it, get a notebook, sketch. I'm just trying to get the player an understanding of what it is.
Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy spraying up the Bay.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the 11th Annual Showcase. Again, my name is Jose Martinez. I'm here to start the Jose Awards, mostly because of fun. Yeah. It was not. Fun fact, I'm one of the founding students. I've been with the program for a long time, 11 years now. and I've been helping the program grow and helping you support you guys. But I want to go straight to the point of best in coding. These people have worked really hard to get their code to work. Give it up for the nominations. Kapu Aloha, Go Void, Projects Jam, and the winner of Best in Coding is Go Void. Please stand so you guys can be here. There we go. There is Go Void. I didn't see that. What happened? All right. Cool, that's it. Come on, Zorm, you know what to do.
Our main mechanic is a turn-based RPG. So in our game, Ariel is fighting the cracks of reality that are coming to the dream world using turn-based RPG mechanics.
The story of the game is about a young protagonist who's been facing the deportation of their mother, as well as bullying from their classmates. As the player's introduced, our protagonist has already turned to daydreaming as a form of coping. It isn't until they're challenged to a fight that the protagonist loses control of their world and must escape and build the courage to fight and stand up for themselves in the real world.
The player explores between the dream world and reality. In the dream world, the player engages in combat with various enemies, and when exploring the real world, the player can interact with the surrounding environment to progress the story and learn where most of our main character's personal conflicts stem from.
The art style for our game is more cartoonish. It's kind of with like chibi style, big eyes, small body, big head.
Since those enemies scale in difficulty as you progress through our story, the player's ability to strategize in these battles will have to grow along with their progression in the game. So players will have to learn how to use their given moveset efficiently to emerge victorious in combat and continue through our game.
To represent the real world, we have chosen a more dull color palette to show how Ariel views the real world. But with the dream world, it's more like warm and comforting to show that the dream world is their safe space, and that's where they find comfort. Thank you for listening. Please join us in our next Daydream.
So our game is called The Lament. It's a point-and-click visual novel game that's following a Silky called Machka, who's trying to figure out what's causing the decline in her population, her people's population, and also trying to figure out who stole her pill.
Our main story is to take back control in your life. Basically, we're using the skin or the coat of the game to symbolizes like the level of, even though you may lose some yourself or your identity, you may still have pieces of that, or through your life experiences as you go along, you'll be able to put yourself together.
Our main gameplay loop is communicating with our NPCs or our different characters they've encountered throughout the game, so people can use our dialogue system to investigate, discuss, and discover clues, along with our click and point mechanic to figure out the mystery of the stolen pelts and the disappearance of their neighboring pods.
We're going for a more semi-Victorian era type of art style and aesthetic as well too, because we're going for like a cute but also kind of creepy vibe at the exact same time, following the Victorian fashion and looking from like the difference of like dark clothing and bright clothing with some of the characters.
So depending on which items or clues they discover or choose to click on, allows them to unlock new dialogue choices along their dialogue options with NPCs across the game.
Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy playing our game.
Alright, so Put It Down is a 2D top-down dexterity precision-based game in which our player will be connecting with new people via a wave line matching game.
The main character has to find friends and befriend them, and the way that they do that is through these like sort of wave mini games where there's like a up and down wave that they have to follow.
So the idea is that Amica needs to be on the same wavelength as the friendable in order to properly connect with them. So the player's goal is to get as many friends, connect with as many friendables as possible in order to help Amikas properly socialize and reconnect with humanity after the pandemic.
Our current generation has had a common issue of, overuse when it comes to phones and less socialization. But the pandemic really jump-started that with how much time people spent alone.
So throughout our game, the main obstacle is actually Amika's phone addiction, and we actually represent that by having vibrating phones with notifications popping up throughout our levels. Some of them may be static, some of them may be dynamic, and they serve as a way for the player to try to divert their attention.
For UI, we have a timer and a friend counter, which are both orange to contrast against the blue pastel background. They're both round to signify that they are meant to help the player as compared to the phone, which is a harsh black and red palette to look meaner, and it has a square shape to show the player that it's harmful.
As Amika creates more connections with different people, they become more sociable and they have an easier time connecting with new people and taking on harder conversations. And this is shown by the levels being harder, but not necessarily the conversing being harder.
The player will get better at the game faster than the levels get harder. So they will be much harder than the previous ones, but the player will be much better at the game compared to those levels. So they will feel easier than the first ones, even though they're actually harder.
All right, so we want our player to feel like while it may be easy to be lonely and just find comfort in your phone, there's actually a challenge out there to connect with different people, and it may be a fun challenge for some, and it's also rewarding because you might not only make yourself happier, but you might make the other people around you happier when you connect with them.
Thank you for listening, and I hope you guys enjoy your game. Put it away.
Wasn't that amazing? I can't believe it. All right, so the next up award is Best Narrative. You have to tell a story, right? They tell amazing stories, but I want to go to the nominees: Seaside Paranoia, Business as Usual, and Kapu Aloha. And the winner is Seaside Paranoia. Wow. Stand up, Seaside Paranoia. Where you at? Right there. Standing up.
Machka is a 2D beat-em-up game where the main character is attending a punk show and, they are fighting off people who are infiltrating the show by moshing instead of fighting.
So the main gameplay loop has you performing different button inputs or combinations to do different dance moves, which work as your attacks against enemies. Once you have them weak enough, you basically throw them out of the pit.
I recently went to a show that the proceeds went to benefits for helping families during ice raids and helping families in Palestine. So the benefit show is supposed to represent real life punk benefit shows. People who oppose these views, bigoted people, harmful people, intend to go to these shows and cause problems and create chaos in the environment, and the players going to these shows to remove them from these spaces.
When it came to the colors, color palette was a little insane because a lot of the colors were very more vibrant and keep the things popping out.
As you go to different levels, which are sort of explained as different bands playing, more harder enemy types get added, like ones that don't get stunned by your attacks or ones that can have ranged projectiles.
The main character is traversing in one direction, and they are fighting enemies that they encounter by moshing. Instead of throwing a punch, they're windmilling, or instead of just kicking, they're doing a spin kick. And it takes inspiration from dancing styles that come from the hardcore and punk scene.
Seeing all these combination of 3D environment with 2D asset characters and having the art just kind of like complement with everything and keep it, together and give that same vibe that we want to give with our game. So it was pretty hard to almost try to get that same chaotic energy and lively environment within the game.
I want the player to get a good understanding of what it's like to attend a show in the Bay Area. I want them to get an understanding of what it's like to build community and understand that being punk is about building community and sharing community and protecting your community.
Thank you for listening. Hopefully you guys enjoyed playing our game. We put in a lot of work and honestly, it was really fun making it.
Encaved is a 2D platformer where you are a fire trapped in a cave, and your goal is to escape the cave by collecting resources, fighting enemies, and through this journey you're going to experience loneliness and burnout.
Throughout the game, the character is going to be searching for resources, picking up anything that they can use in order to survive throughout the game.
When you get attacked by the enemies that you have to encounter, your source of light starts to decrease. You want to have your health fully maxed so that you could see and you could see around yourself.
Animating fire has been difficult for me because it's one of the first few times I've animated fire. Fire is a little more chaotic and the way I animate is sort of controlled. So trying to find a balance in between that has been pretty difficult.
The different enemies that you're going to encounter in our game are slimes for swarms, mages that spawn enemies like water minions, and mirages who play as mini tanks.
So for the UI and UX, we decided to use cave-like assets, so like rocks, gravel, stuff like that.
They have no one else to talk to or to have dialogue with in the game, because we wanted our players to experience some kind of loneliness as they were going throughout the cave. So they had to just keep on going until they have found a way out.
Thank you for listening, and I hope that this shows you what burnout can do to a person and you don't experience it yourself.
Kapu Aloha is a 3D first-person walking simulator puzzle game. It starts as a traditional collect the items type of game, and it quickly turns as the forest traps you in an infinite loop. Every path you take becomes a circle, and you realize the truth of your theft inside of this loop, and you have to put everything back to break out.
The main mechanic is going to be trying to progress and put the things you took back, and then now there's new challenges that stand in your way. And the only way to break out of the loop is to do it correctly. So one of the challenges that the player is going to have to face is going to be evading a sounder of pigs as you race to put back the items that you took as they try to chase you.
So for the art style, we're going with a PlayStation 1 low poly aesthetic. We chose this aesthetic because it's nostalgic to us and very visually appealing. And because we wanted to make a 3D game, this style makes things very manageable for us within the short time frame that we have. Our reasoning behind our color palette is that we wanted to go with like a misty jungle colors kind of vibe, that were both light but could maintain things as mysterious and rooted in nature.
The goal that we have is trying to have a interesting take on respecting indigenous land while also making it a fun, engaging game for the player.
We thought video games were interesting for this because video games are the general collect the items philosophy in video games. When you think about it, it's kind of conquesty and imperialistic. It's oh, just take from the mummy's tomb. It doesn't matter. Just take it all, 100% it. But in real life, this is not the philosophy that should be followed. And things and Hawaiian people in particular, which is why we based it on Hawaiian people, it's lived a very sustainability first lifestyle that isn't reflected in Western culture. And we thought that was really important and interesting to exemplify and bring to the forefront. Basically, the whole thing is you get to see the consequences of your actions from taking from the forest. That's the whole idea.
All right, thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys learn to respect the law of the land. All right, bye-bye.
Amazing game so far. The next award is Most Improved Games. This is an award that goes for the teams that had a rocky start, like a rock. They were like a rough start at the beginning, but like they ended strong, right? Like you have to have like they were shocked the first week, but like they did they made it to the showcase. But they have fun. They have fun doing it. Nominees are Machka, Daydreamer, and Spry. The winner is Spry. Great job, Spry. Stand up, Spry. Y'all did well. Y'all did it. Y'all had a fun time. You need to recognize for the work you guys did. Good job. All right, next one. Come on, Zorn.
My role for this year was everything because I'm working on a solo project, a solo VR project. First person point of view. They play as a child and their mother is giving them tasks. And so as you complete these tasks, you progress throughout the level. And there's two environments. The first environment starts off at home, and then the second environment is at the workplace of the mother. My main mechanic is grab, so the player is able to interact with the environment, pick up, place objects, rotate them. I downloaded assets from Unity, and I've mostly been modifying them to my liking. I'm using green colors. I'm using a lot of greens and blues to kind of make it uncanny, a little uncomfortable. And then, as you can see on the screen, I kind of went for a nostalgic feeling, so I'm using that also for the music, and I think it goes well with the environment. Kind of just like, since it's an experience, I really want the player to feel as if they were there. Kind of as if it were a fever dream or a memory. I was trying to figure out a way to convey the hardships that mothers go through, at least like single mothers, because most of my childhood I spent time with my mother. And something I noticed was that, at least for Latina mothers, they usually take their child to work instead of leaving them to the care of others, just because it feels like safer. And at least for my mom, she's always been very caring of me. And then I wanted to create an experience to show that the players could kind of reflect on their childhood, have a way to like appreciate their parents or show appreciation for their parents. So that's the main goal of my game. Thank you for listening, and I hope you get the opportunity to play my VR experience.
Makahiki is a sports game that explores the Makahiki season and the Makahiki games. We are focusing on the O'oihe, which is spear throwing, as you play as a native Hawaiian who is too young to participate in battle and war. So you participate in the games to demonstrate your proficiency in spear throwing.
As a native Hawaiian, you are taught at a certain young age, usually 5, maybe 8 to 15, depending on how quickly you develop, in the arts of war, or Kapu Aloha, which is a sword, a selection of the art of war. Kapu Aloha is the Hawaiian martial arts of bone breaking. Currently, we're focusing on spear throwing, or o'ihe.
When it comes to our art style, we essentially went for a sort of softer and more cartoony look. Small touches of realism blended together, especially seen in the environment drawn. As for why we chose the aesthetic for our game, we wanted to do something representative and historically accurate of the Makahiki games with more of a nostalgic feel. We want to emphasize like the warmth and festivity of the Makahiki games through its art and atmosphere.
Throwing a spear is way different in-game than real life. To emulate spear throwing, I need to make sure that the arc of the spear is accurate to real life as much as possible.
The reason he's been taught of spear throw is so he keeps his abilities and skills honed, sharp, and when he's ready to actually be set off for war, which is going to be in a few years of this character's time, he'll be prepared and able-bodied to actually participate and protect others and his family and his tribe.
Mahalo, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy playing our game. And yeah.
Goatscape is a casual 2D puzzle game where you play as a goat trying to travel the Hawaiian Islands while saving his family from minefields across the islands.
You are going to be a goat traversing through Waikoloa and some other islands throughout Hawaii that have been infested with like bombs that the military left over decades ago. So you're going to play as Alvin, the goat, traversing through these areas, and you have the option to either A, just go through it all, try to avoid like all the bombs, or B, you could try to save your community along the way.
And as you go through the levels, the amount of mines that you will need to defuse before moving on to the next one will also increase.
For the art style, we wanted to go for like a slightly goofy, cartoony style, bold outlines, saturated colors that you would find like all over Hawaii, since this is a very colorful place, and a bunch of different textures to have a nice contrast between the goats in the background.
Well, we want our game to be a cool little game that people can casually play. However, we also want to impart our message to the player.
We didn't want the game to be like a depressing story about how the military left bombs on Hawaiian land, but more about the positive efforts being made to clean them up and bring our community back together through those efforts to restore our land.
Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoy our game. Mahalo and aloha.
Okay. You're good. We get it. Okay. I am not used to all the hype. Usually I'm the one in the back making sure things work. But the next award is Best Design. So the game that has best UI, you can tell that you don't have to tell the player, hey, do this, as you know you're telling the player what to do. You just know it because the game tells you, right? Give it up for the nominees are Go Void, Goatscape, and Project Jam. The winner is Goatscape. Hold it up for Hawaii. They're in Hawaii. Show love to Hawaii. You know what to do, Zorm? Oh, I forgot. So please scan this QR. Oh, wait, Carlos, you want to say it? Cool, thank you.
All right, go ahead. Throw that back up. All right, so if you want to vote in the Audience Choice Award, you have 3 minutes. Randy is timing. 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes to time, right? So scan it, get your vote in, and near the end of the show, we will tell you who the winner is. So in 2 minutes, I will cut off the vote. All right? We'll give you the time now. Those of you at home, you definitely can vote too. So if you're watching on stream, you're watching in Hawaii, you're watching in Tennessee, New York, Texas, wherever you might be watching from, you could definitely scan that code, get your vote in. And then Randy, when 1 minute? Okay. I am logging in at the speed of light right now. Can't wait. Yeah, I got a haircut. I made the barber story too. Thirty seconds. 30 seconds. Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's cut. So please stick around. We are going to announce this award right before the Game of the Summer award. So please stay in your seats, watch the rest of the presentations, and get hyped because this is the first time we're ever doing this, and I really want to hope it works. So, all right. I'll see y'all soon.
Okay, Figuring Her Out is a narrative-driven puzzle platformer where the player solves a series of puzzles in order to learn about the main character.
This is more of a story to kind of help explain people the effects of being autistic, especially when someone is high-functioning and someone who is neurodivergent.
The player would be chasing her sort of inner self, and it would just be the aspect of her that we're trying to figure out, because Figuring Her Out is a game that we explore like her autism in, learn to become one, I guess.
The art style is supposed to be soft and a bit flowy, along with a little bit of roughness.
You're technically inside your own mind. There's a gravity mechanic where it will switch between normal gravity and low gravity. And there is a color mechanic where on a button press, the colors would either be solid or hollow.
For the color palette, we decided to go with more you would say bluish tones or cold yet soft tones.
When she finds her autistic self then tells her that she's missing. She feels incomplete, even though she has all the items. She feels incomplete because her autism is part of her, regardless of if she wants to deny it or not. And her being autistic doesn't change like who she is, or she shouldn't feel ashamed for having autism, and she shouldn't feel outcasted for not feeling normal. Because she is normal. She's human.
Thank you guys for listening, and I hope you guys enjoy our game.
Ruins of Veileris is a 2.5D 3D platformer similar to Crash Bandicoot and Pac-Man World, where you play as a raccoon who is exploring an ancient civilization long past the dawn of the red pandas.
The story of the game is about a raccoon who escapes this totalitarian isolationist city that has been restricting a lot of information. And the raccoon goes and explores the outside world for the first time and learns about it. And they find the ruins of an ancient city of red pandas who had gone extinct at some point. And the raccoon is exploring this city and learning more about everything that happened.
So color palette of the game has many mixes of a lot more earthy tones representing sort of the ruined civilization, between browns and whites and a lot more stone color. It also represents sort of the main character as a raccoon, who is of course has a lot of brown fur, but also wears this nice little white jacket to help make sure you actually see him. Also red shorts, which brings into the other sort of color palette, a lot of red, oranges, which represents a lot of the red pandas. Having this bright color contrast with this more earthy color really helps sort of make this game very vibrant and sort of ties the themes of bringing life back to this long gone past.
The player is exploring these ruins and collecting pieces to further their gameplay, including something to open up a door to get to the next area, a crystal that contains logs, kind of like more optional than the door piece, but it contains information that can help the player and be used as a key piece sometimes, and doing platforming and progressing through the story.
Thank you for listening and take care.
So our game is it's a murder mystery point-and-click visual novel, and you play as Marco, where you'll discover something chilling while drawing in the woods one day.
So what the player is investigating as Marco, the main protagonist, you are trying to solve a murder. Specifically, you founded the woods, but you have no traces, you have no clue who the person is or who the murderer is. So that's what you're trying to solve, as you have no clues and there's no body to see. So you're currently an unreliable narrator throughout the story.
Since we have a lot of artists, around 4 artists on our team, we all decided to make a mood board of what we thought like the background could look like, what mood murder mystery would look like for each of us.
I think a lot of it has to do with synchronizing the art to just the buttons itself, matching the art to background to even the smallest things like buttons, and nobody really thinks about that. So everything has to all narratively tie into, even like a simple menu button, and keeping with the style in itself within the world build.
We lean towards darker aesthetics because it is a murder mystery, so we don't want to go too light-hearted. It'll be a lot of dark shading because we are borrowing elements from traditional comic ink look. So yeah, primarily dark shading.
The kind of impact I would want is them to be on their seats, to be on the edge of their seats, that they should feel some sort of anxious and anxiety-inducing feeling while watching this protagonist kind of struggle to prove that it exists, that the thing they just saw and the person they just saw exists.
We want you to feel like it's a super mysterious game. It's a dramatic and emotional.
Thank you for listening. I hope you have fun playing Seaside Paranoia.
All right. Are you not entertained? No? All right, we're getting there. We're halfway there. But the next award is Best Sound. This is the game where you can actually add, people added music. Honestly, we need more sound designers. Yes, we do. But sound design is very important because it's always last minute, or the sound designers need to always add something. Please get the sound designers to add something, but this one did add stuff. I'm clowning on them, but either way, nominations: Project Blueberry Jam, Master of Mystic, The Lament, and the winner is Project Jam. Project Jam. Project Jam. Stand up. Are you guys here? Oh, they're at home? Okay. I'm gonna pass it to my my chief, Carlos.
All right. Thank you, Jose. Let's see. So every year, our students get paired up with tech and games industry professionals who provide all of their input and experiences to many Gameheads students in the program. So many mentors have also had the opportunity to be here for years and have seen students grow into industry professionals as well to leave this industry in a better place. Many of you have worked week in and week out, and while sometimes on the outside you might be a little unsure if you really helped out, your mentorship will always leave a lasting impact. So whether it's during your one-on-one meetings, chasing down your mentees and their emails, answering questions about your own career, reviewing resumes and portfolios, or teaching a workshop with us on a Saturday, your presence matters. And you play a part in training up the next generation of video game and tech workers for our industries. If you're a mentor in the crowd, please stand up. And if you're a mentor in the chat, go ahead and blow up the chat and drop up a bunch of emojis. To all of the mentors that joined us on this road to the showcase this year, on behalf of Gameheads, we all thank you. Gameheads is that much better of a place with you all here, so please go ahead and give them one last round of applause.
We made Chosen Oz Orbital Drift. It's a top-down racing game where you get to choose, well, your odds. You can have an advantage or a disadvantage. You could cheat or you could play fair.
You get to play as either gold, which has the advantage, or silver that has the disadvantage. And your main goal throughout the race is to win no matter which side you choose, but you get to experience the level differently because depending on the character you chose, your track will have more or fewer obstacles to navigate through.
You could just go pick the easy racer, have a nice breeze of a race. Pick the hard racer, struggle, lose, struggle, win. Cheat with either one, or let's just say you're a nice guy and you want to pick the easy racer and let the other guy win. All up to you. Only real part of the story that's constant is that it is not a fair race.
We wanted to add that because we felt like that's a lot. It reflects kind of how people navigate uncertainty and unfairness in real life.
So I used a low poly 2D art style just because with many games involving space, people get taken away by the visuals more than the story itself. So I decided to go for a lower quality so we prevent that a little bit.
And if you're playing as gold, you're playing as the racer with the advantage. So you have a nicer bike. And then if you play as silver, your bike isn't as nice, it's not as shiny. Nobody's really expecting you to win. It's like playing the game on hard mode.
Oh, vehicle design. So I used a little bit of shape language with the vehicle design. The funny thing is with the boost is that with silver, the boost isn't as powerful, but it does last a lot longer than gold. So I designed the vehicle as if it was an arrow to show deceleration, while with gold I did more chunkier quadrilaterals in order to show how futuristic the vehicle really was. Thank you so much for listening and keep racing through life.
Light the Power is a 2D side-scroller beat-em-up where you play as a light bulb revolutionary attempting to free the other light bulbs from the government's oppression and propaganda.
So the basic thing you're supposed to do in the game is enlighten people through violence, but prompted violence. They attack you first because we see in the Black Panther movement that they were usually prompted in a lot of the violent actions, which were really just self-defense that they did.
So the enemy abilities vary from being able to move really fast and being able to punch with a lot of damage. We show that throughout the character art, with some of them being small and some of them being big.
Throughout the game, you fight multiple other people that have been inundated or they just disagree with your opinion, so they automatically try to fight you, which I feel is very relevant to the real world as well.
Yeah, while the player is maneuvering within the level, you'll experience fighting enemies, stairs, and a lot of pitfalls.
I was in charge of character design, motion sprites, color palette, and background art. The art style game is a cartoon 2D art style that's similar to It kind of looks like some shows you may see on Cartoon Network or like Adult Swim, but like similar to that.
I hope you enjoy throwing hands as a light bulb in Light the Power.
Spree is a co-op alt-control racing game that takes place in a grocery store that you use a shopping cart as your controller.
Since this game is a co-op game, both players have different roles. One of them sits in the shopping cart and controls like steering and stuff and helps with some items. And the other player stands in the back of the shopping cart and accelerates by physically stepping their feet on these pads on the ground, and they also control some of the items too.
An alt-control game is a game that uses a homemade controller that fits specifically the game it's meant for. It doesn't work for anything else. It's made for one project in mind, and that project only.
Our controller uses force sensors to detect its inputs, like whether you're like pressing on the buttons, so to speak, on the shopping cart, and that goes through an Arduino that eventually goes into Unity and it's registered in the game.
I designed a multitude of power-ups for the game, such as a soda can that gives you a speed boost. There's a tomato that you throw at other racers, as well as a giant watermelon that like hones in on people and smashes down and like blows them up.
The art style for our game is based off the graphics from the PS1 era games, as well as games as of recent like Nightmare Kart and Postal 2. The grocery store that the game takes place in is inspired off 80s retail chains, as well as the local Safeway near Gameheads.
So this was my first time designing a racetrack. There was a lot of things I learned you have to take into account when making a racetrack, such as shortcuts, objects in the surrounding the racetrack, objects on the racetrack. It's not as simple as just making a circle and putting some nice colors on it.
The assembling of this team was done with the intent of making it to GDC to show off at the All Control booth that they have every year for indie developers.
Thank you for listening, and play Spree.
Okay, wasn't that cool? Exciting, right? All right, next award goes to Best Mechanic. So Best Mechanic is that they decided to do this gameplay idea, and like we didn't tell them, they did it themselves, and like they took it to like a whole new level, right? The nominees are Spree, Mirror Magica, Go Void. Give it up for Spree. They are the winners. Yeah, stand up, Spree. Give them hypes, bro. They created that.
Master of Music is a rhythm-based top-down grid platformer where players maneuver a shifting landscape that shifts with the beat of the level. As the player progresses, the tempo increases, demanding unwavering composure, like playing Dance Dance Revolution as a platformer.
Our story revolves around competing in a life or death galactic event known as the Music Trials in order to earn the title known as Master of Music.
The game's main mechanic is the changing grid-like system where parts of the level change as the beat progresses. On every beat change, you see a level change, and that increases in tempo as the game goes on.
The art style of the game is very much inspired off of the Y2K Physical Aero and Physical Metro aesthetic. We took very strong examples from early Nintendo and Xbox vibes. We chose this art style of the game because we believe that it will showcase a very strong sense of nostalgia to the player, as well as though we think as though it would match the music vibe for the game.
I'd say from my role as a co-sound designer, the difficult part was figuring out like what exactly to add on to the music to really match with what we're going with, because it's very, very focused on like keeping the counts and rhythm and just everything on beat.
First, a player has to like familiarize themselves with like the tempo of the level. So it's going to take some trial and error. As the game progresses, that tempo increases, so they have to adjust for the initial tempo, and as the tempo increases, the level is obviously going to feel a lot different. So just matching your movement with the level changes and the beat is the main like core difficult loop. Yeah.
We wanted to make sure that the UX UI will match each level. For example, the laptop level, we decided to put the keyboard as the tile sheet, and I feel as though that would be really fun for the players.
Thank you for watching, and hope to see you become a master of music yourself.
No More Kings is a chess-inspired roguelike where we upend some of the fundamentals of chess playing to try to make a game that reinvent what leadership and strategy can look like.
You play as these remix pieces of like chess pieces, but with different abilities. Like for example, we have a remix of a pawn that allows us to rally each other, create like a stance and have two pawns against each other. The whole process is you're trying to take down the authoritarian, like white king chess piece.
We want our game to cause people to think about the nature of power and what its purpose is, trying to find ways to shed new lights on them that represent bottom-up leadership models and human-focused organization a lot more than a top-down authoritarian regime, which is what all iterations of chess have really promoted.
I did a lot of different concepts, but I think we all knew from the very beginning that we wanted to have a rebellious looking game of chess pieces, because the plot of the game is that they are rebelling against the system. So redesigning them to look much different than the original ones.
Throughout the game, there's going to be many challenges. As you evolve, you know, your enemy will also too. Giving you a really good thinking of how to strategize against the system. You're not really constrained to like a role-bearing thing. You can, as soon as you upgrade your pieces and you upgrade more so the game state, you can have the freedom to rebel against the system and also have fun while doing it.
Punk has always been a word used to express fighting against what's normal and against the system. You know, people dress like that because they want to express themselves, since they don't want to conform to just wearing what everyone else is wearing. Their clothing is a message. So the pieces themselves are sending that message that they're not conforming to the idea of regular chess.
It's about the traditional version of chess versus this new version that focuses more on the individual pieces and not just their relationship to the king.
Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy playing our game, No More Kings. See ya.
Go-Go Video is a fast-paced 2D platformer where you play as a little robot who wants to basically collect different parts inside of a factory in order to repair itself before the company that created it shuts it down.
So the character, right? He's like a broken little robot, and he figures that he's about to get shut down. He's getting cut off by the company. It's like once he runs out of battery, they cut him off. He's getting bricked. So he figures that he's gonna go to the factory, like try to collect new parts to upgrade himself, and like collect a new chip that'll like make him independent from the company. So like he won't die.
So for the general art style, we wanted something to be like really simplistic. We wanted the environment of the game to be simplistic and the character. So for the environment, we went with like a green and yellow color palette. We wanted the player to feel really queasy and uneasy. So we went for like green and yellow to make it kind of sickly vibe.
As the player plays, throughout the game, you'll unlock different movement abilities. So eventually, the player will be able to double jump, dash, and use grappling hook with video.
The movement has been the hardest part. Getting it to feel right has been like really difficult because we don't want it to be too slow, too floaty, or also just like not too fast, or else you're not gonna be able to control your character. So getting into like that perfect point has been really hard.
I think designing levels has been a kind of hard process for me. Right now, our main roadblock is like timer, which represents our player's battery life. Our game has a timer, it has spikes, it has holes, and right now, it also has pressure.
Planned obsolescence is kind of a thing that companies do, where they like purposely worsen a product so that people are kind of forced to buy more after a while. So it's kind of like Apple with like really bad aging batteries that'll like be really bad as time goes on. And this is related to our game, because our little robot, he's about to get replaced. So he's like pushing and fighting for himself so that he's still like relevant and usable.
Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy rolling around this video.
All right. Next up for the for the best art is like this for art artists. This is really like when you're looking at the art, it just like wow, like you have that wow feeling, right? But anyway, for the nominees are Seaside Paranoia, Machka, Project Jam, Go Void. Give it up for Project Jam as best art. All right. Next up is our feature film from VP.
For this special. Did you know that when you closing your eyes, you can't see because your eyes is closed? What? When they was open, you was seeing, but now when they is closed, so you is not seeing no more. Did you know that?
You guys should come to the 11th Gameheads showcase and play Spree. It is the best free.
All right, take your marks. Go.
You stupid! Clanker!
What up? Today we're unpacking this package that this fan got me. Wonder what's in it today, honestly.
Aquí, arriba. No mires.
It's your favorite politician here, you know, the only one that's really valid. And I just want to give a warm thank you to everybody that genuinely voted for me and genuinely fights for the cause that I'm fighting for, because, you know, fuck them clankers. I think we should value humans over these fucking robotic pieces of shit. So frankly speaking, I just, from the bottom of my heart, my real beating heart, I want to thank all you guys that voted for me. Every single one of you, I thank you. I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for you guys. Probably taken over by a fucking clanker. I don't know. But honestly, you guys are the real ones. Clankers, not real. They're just a bag of...
It's a 7 a.m. news. I'm Porin, and I'm here to bring you the latest updates on a massive metahuman protest happening at City Hall. As you can see from these images, emotions are heated and tensions are high. The turnout is massive as metahumans from all throughout the city are gathered around in protest, after a sudden increase in metahuman-related hate crimes have gone viral all over social media.
And here we have rusty clunkers. They're clunkers. There's no other way to describe them.
Please, we do not say that on this channel.
Well, that's exactly what they are. They're clunkers. They take...
They're autonomous humans.
Okay, but they're not human whatsoever. They're rust buckets.
Whoa.
They're
Sir, please, keep the language down. There are small robots and children watching.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck who's watching, as long as they're human, good souls, humans, you know. But if they're that's where I get a little irky, because I respect red, blue, maybe green, but not robot, not wires, no copper around me. Okay, but
Well,
did you hear about that story? There's a story about a little dirty who adopted a human child.
Yeah, it was all over the media. It's a great You're
You're okay?
story.
You're okay with that?
Yeah, that child didn't have protection, and now it does.
From a it's a it's taken our jobs, it's taken our homes, it took my wife, it...
Well, that cuts deep, doesn't it?
If I see that that took my wife... All I'm saying is...
That's cool and all. Anyway, check this out. Scrumptious.
I just wanna be part of your symphony.
What's up, everybody? Make sure to see me absolutely roast and demolish and destroy this little pro clanker at this live debate, presidential debate. I'm the best president. Make sure you watch that.
Coming from the robot hater himself, do not vote for this person at all. He deserves to be muted. If you want a real leader, vote for me.
Get out of here, bro. Get out of here.
Today.
Get out of here.
Not him.
I'm gonna destroy his ass. I'm gonna destroy his ass.
All the robots, and they were doing surgery on each other. They were getting rid of the chips. They're revolting. They're revolting.
I love the United States of America. They allow my robot friends to raise me. I pledge allegiance to the flag 5 times a day. Being a reality TV show star is the new American dream.
Good Team Ty, it's yours truly back at it again, and I just wanted to say I am so grateful for all of the love and support for my newest segment of Are They Gay? I don't know, let's find out. And I feel like it really affirms that I'm making a difference, even if my haters think that I'm forcing people out of the closet or distracting from real world.
Last time on Who Wants to Be an American?
Send a galaxy if you agree with me that clankers, they're the ones that are programmed to do what they're doing. And humans, we have emotions, we have free will. This pro clanker right here wants to take our will away.
Comment if you think this college
You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that.
Deserves to not stick to politics.
I think I do. I think I have a better spot and a better take and a better grasp at politics than you ever will. I think everything you're saying right now is probably fed to you by a little clanker behind your head, you know, like beep beep boop boop boop, typing behind your head, making sure you know exactly what to say. Take that back. Don't bring up my wife.
I just did. I just did.
That was a lot. Thoughts? Up high? Yeah? That was intense. Love it, right? All right, so this is the audience award. This is the choices that you guys picked. And thank you for picking and being a part of the community. Here are the nominations for the Audience Choice Award. Spree, Mirror Magica, Mosh It. The winner is Spree. Give it up for Spree. Stand up, guys. All right. I'm going to pass the board. All right. I'm going to introduce the board. They're the ones that like tell us what to do, how to give advice. Not tell us what to do, but they give us advice. Okay? I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna pass it to them. Bye.
Can we have the board come up and announce game of the summer, please? Give it up for Jason Morales, Truman Simpson, Paul Rubicki, Raymond Graham, Lissette Teacher Montgomery, and Marcus Montgomery.
All right, this is the moment everyone is waiting for. I want to first acknowledge all of the hard work that the students and the mentors put in this summer. I want to acknowledge the parents that dragged their kids here in the entire summer, kicking and screaming. And I want to acknowledge the staff of Gameheads. With none of this would be possible without you guys. Thank you so much. And finally, I'd love to thank the board. Thank you guys. This program wouldn't be what it is without you. And especially Damon Packwood. Thanks for all that you do. All right, let's get into it. Game of the summer. Nominations. Spree by all four. Mirror Magica. And Go Video. All right, can I get a drum roll? Go Video!
Thanks, everybody. All right. All right. Oh, somebody forgot their phone. There you go. All right. All right. That about does it for the 11th annual showcase, everyone. Thank you for coming out. And that especially does it for the first annual Jose's. One more time for Jose. Say Jose, 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 Jose. Yeah. So I just wanted to make a special shout out to all the staff: Jose, Zoram, Randy, Gideon, Cam was with us. Now she's at Sony, right? Devin, our executive director, Damon, for always guiding us in the right direction. Gideon over at Gameheads Hawaii. I want to thank our amazing sponsors over at Sledgehammer Games and Scopely for sponsoring the event. Thank you to our partners over at the Liliuokalani Trust, Northeastern University, and Change Consulting for being great partners throughout the year. Thank you especially to the board for welcoming in the first Gameheads Jose Award Game of the Summer for this showcase, and hopefully many more to come. Also for showing up week in and week out, for offering your very honest advice so all of these games can make it to the showcase this summer and every summer. Thank you to our Fellowship Council for supporting our fellowship projects as they get ready to launch their projects. If you played Fungi today, that was a fellowship project. Be on the lookout for Pliant and the Sillies. The Sillies, they was marching around like all day. Yeah, there's the Sillies right up there. Sneaky Fishy coming soon, right? And finally, to all the parents, to all the guardians here in Oakland, in Hawaii, and wherever you might be watching here today. Thank you, mahalo, and gracias for supporting our kids through our program, and everyone have a great night.
God bless and good night, everybody. Thank you for coming.